Here's something nobody wants to admit. Being smart is actually a disadvantage when it comes to influence. I know that sounds backwards. You'd think intelligence would make you more persuasive, more respected, more listened to. But look around your workplace, your friend group, or even politics. The people getting promoted, building massive followings, and actually changing minds, they're usually not the smartest people in the room. Why smart people get ignored and how average people become influential. Meanwhile, the genuinely brilliant person with the PhD is sitting in the corner, ignored during meetings, wondering why their objectively better ideas keep getting shot down. What's happening here? And more importantly, if you're that smart person getting overlooked, how do you fix it? Let me break down exactly why intelligence backfires and what average people understand about influence that geniuses completely miss. The intelligence trap. Why being smart makes you boring. Smart people have a fatal flaw. They think in complexity, but influence requires simplicity. When an intelligent person explains something, they include all the nuance, all the caveats, all the exceptions to the rule. They say things like, well, it's complicated because there are multiple variables at play, and while the data suggests X, we also need to consider Y and Z, and historically speaking, and everyone's eyes glaze over. It's not because people are dumb. It's because the human brain literally cannot process that much information at once. Cognitive psychology shows that working memory can only hold about 4 chunks of information simultaneously. When you dump 10 concepts on someone at once, their brain just shuts down. Average people who become influential, they instinctively simplify. They take a complex idea and distill it down to one clear, memorable point. They might lose some accuracy, but they gain something way more valuable. They actually get heard. Think about the most viral ideas you've seen spread. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Is that scientifically rigorous? Not really. Is it memorable and influential? Absolutely. Smart people hate this. They see the simplification as dumbing things down, as being intellectually dishonest. And while they're busy being precise, someone else with a catchier soundbite is winning the argument. The curse of explanation, when details destroy your point. Here's where smart people really shoot themselves in the foot. They over-explain. Someone asks them a question and they give a comprehensive, detailed answer that covers every angle. They're being helpful, thorough, accurate, and completely forgettable. Meanwhile, the person who becomes influential gives a short, punchy answer and then stops talking. They create what I call explanatory gaps, little spaces where the listener's brain has to fill in the blanks. This is crucial because of something called the generation effect. When your brain has to actively work to complete an idea, you remember it better and feel more ownership over it. You're not just passively receiving information, you're participating in creating the understanding. Smart people don't leave gaps, they fill in everything. They anticipate every question and answer it before it's asked. And in doing so, they rob the listener of the chance to engage. Average influential people? They answer just enough to spark curiosity, then let the other person ask follow-up questions. This creates a conversation instead of a lecture. And conversations are what build influence. The status game. Why credentials actually hurt you. Here's something that drives smart people crazy. Leading with your expertise makes people trust you less. I know this seems backwards, but there's solid research behind it. When you start a conversation by establishing how qualified you are, you trigger something psychologists call reactance. People's natural resistance to being told what to think by an authority figure. Nobody likes feeling like they're being talked down to. The moment you position yourself above someone intellectually, their defenses go up. They start looking for reasons to disagree with you, not because your ideas are bad, but because they don't want to feel inferior. Average people who become influential do something clever. They position themselves as peers who just happen to figure something out. They say things like, I used to struggle with this too, but here's what I discovered. Instead of, as an expert in this field, I can tell you. Same information, completely different response. The influential person makes you feel like you're both on a journey together. The smart person makes you feel like a student being lectured. Which one are you more likely to listen to? The emotion gap, facts versus feelings. This is the big one. The thing that separates people who are heard from people who are ignored. Smart people rely on logic. They present facts, data, evidence. They think that if they just marshal enough proof, people will have to agree with them. That's how rational discourse works, right? Except humans aren't rational. We're emotional creatures who use logic to justify feelings we've already had. Neuroscience has proven this repeatedly. Brain imaging studies show that emotional centers light up before rational centers when we're making decisions. We feel first, think second. Then we use our intelligence to construct logical-sounding reasons for decisions that were actually emotional. Average people who become influential understand this intuitively. They lead with stories, not statistics. They connect to how someone feels before they ever present a logical argument. Instead of, studies show that this approach increases productivity by 23%, they say. Remember that feeling when you finally crossed everything off your to-do list? That's what this approach gives you every single day. One version talks to your brain, the other talks to your gut. Which one moves you to action? The certainty paradox. Why doubt makes you stronger. Smart people hedge. They qualify their statements. They say, it's likely that, and the evidence suggests, and in most cases, they're being intellectually honest, and it's destroying their influence. Here's why. People are drawn to certainty, especially in uncertain times. When someone speaks with absolute conviction, our brains interpret that as a signal that they know something we don't. We want to believe them because certainty feels safe. This doesn't mean influential people are always right. Often they're not. But they've figured out that expressing an idea with confidence is more persuasive than expressing a better idea with hesitation. Smart people see all the shades of gray. Influential people speak in black and white even when they privately acknowledge the gray areas exist. Is this intellectually dishonest? Maybe. Is it effective? Absolutely. The trick that separates ethical influence from manipulation is being certain about principles while staying flexible on details. You can say, this is definitely the right direction, while being open to feedback on exactly how to get there. The social proof shortcut, letting others build your case. Here's something average people do brilliantly. They let other people make their arguments for them. Smart people try to win through the strength of their own reasoning. They present their case and expect it to stand on its own merits. Influential people collect validators. They say things like, I was skeptical too, but then I talked to Sarah and she had the same experience, or this is exactly what respected person has been saying for years. This taps into social proof, our tendency to trust ideas more when we see that other people, especially people we respect, already trust them. You're not just hearing one person's opinion anymore. You're seeing evidence that multiple people have arrived at the same conclusion. That's way more persuasive than even the smartest individual making a solo argument. Smart people often see this as weak. Why should it matter what other people think? The idea should stand on its own. But influence isn't about what should work. It's about what does work. The repetition, revolution, why saying it once isn't enough. Smart people make their point once, clearly and thoroughly, then get frustrated when people don't remember it. Influential people understand something critical. Repetition is not redundancy. Marketing research shows people need to hear a message 7 to 10 times before it really sticks. That's not because they're stupid, it's because they're overwhelmed with information. Your brilliant insight is competing with 1,000 other inputs for space in their memory. Average people who become influential find different ways to say the same core thing over and over. They tell stories that illustrate the principle. They use metaphors. They bring it up in different contexts. They make it a catchphrase. By the time they're done, that one idea has been encoded in multiple ways, making it nearly impossible to forget. Smart people think this is boring and patronizing. I already said that. Yeah, you did. Once. 3 weeks ago. And everyone forgot. The real secret: influence is a skill, not a byproduct. Here's the bottom line that smart people need to accept. Being right is not enough. Intelligence gives you better raw material, better ideas, deeper insights, more accurate analyses. But if you can't translate that into communication that actually moves people, you'll stay brilliant and ignored. The good news? Everything I've described is learnable. Simplifying complex ideas, creating emotional connections, speaking with conviction, building social proof, repeating key messages. These are skills, not innate talents. You don't have to choose between being smart and being influential. You just have to add influence skills to your intelligence toolkit. Start small. Next time you have an idea to share, ask yourself, what's the one core point? How can I make this feel relevant to the other person? What story illustrates this? Who else believes this? Master those questions, and you'll finally get the influence your intelligence deserves. Because at the end of the day, the world doesn't change because of the smartest ideas. It changes because of the ideas that spread,